Hey,
All right, Bubba. Good, good. Good to see you there too.
We got a question, man. Right?
Try it. Half-assed.
it's on time.
Yeah, just trying to hurry. It's like traffic. Not on third road, was it? Yes, oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it backed up all the way from the highway. No, I did it. Well, well, I guess it can be go
I
down.
need to read this first.
77 and come back
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, so
I ran
Yes.
into traffic.
Go through the consent agenda, then read the new business.
yes.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, sure.
cool. Might be able to get through this. If I don't, hit me.
Okay. Got permission to use the gavel.
Yes, it's right there on that.
And we got you back.
Good, man.
Just about done with our house with me.
Are you?
He's doing trim work. It's only been 2 years. You know, it took me 6 months to build my house originally.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
What do you
crazy.
think?
That's
And then
crazy.
It's taken me 2 years to get it done now. Because the wife kept saying, oh, can we do this? Yeah, it's just money.
It's always
Anything
just
for a
money.
price.
Yeah.
Greg, you ready back there?
Okay. Welcome, and pursuant to section 551 of the Texas Government Code, notice has been given of a regular meeting at the Zoning Board of Adjustments being held today, August 14th, 2025. It is now 6:33 in the Executive Room, 101 South Live Oak Street, Red Oak, Texas. This is coming through video conference as authorized by section 551.127 of the Texas Government Code, at which time the following will be discussed and considered. The call to order there is a quorum present, and we declare that the notices have legally been posted pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. We'll go right into our consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine by the Zoning Board of Adjustments and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of the items unless a member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed in the consent agenda and considered in a normal sequence. Ask for a motion. So,
I move we approve the
Thank you.
consent agenda.
All in favor?
Yes.
Are we gonna say?
All right, need a second. Trying to hurry through this. I've been married, been married for 47 years.
Casey second.
We got a second, and
Did I second?
Yeah.
all in favor of, say aye.
Drake, aye.
Okay. So considering of approving the moments or the minutes of the following meeting, minutes of the city Red Oak Zoning Board of Adjustments. This was from March 12th, 2025.
So that was just passed, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I was.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, you're wonderful. The new business tonight, we're going to conduct a public hearing to consider a variance request to allow a reduced front yard setback from 25 feet to 0 feet adjacent to South Main Street, a variance to allow a reduced rear yard setback from 10 feet to 2 feet along the rear property line, a variance to allow a reduced lot width of 50 feet in lieu of a minimum of 60-foot lot width as required by C1 or Commercial District 1 development regulations, a variance of 100% for the parking requirements for all uses permitted in the designated C1 to allow a reduced lot depth of 80 feet from the required 100 feet per C1 Commercial District 1 development. A variance to exceed the maximum lot coverage allowed in C1 Commercial District 1 development regulations of 40% to 50% of lot coverage allowed on a site addressed as 105 South Main Street in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas. And this is requested by Gene Bond.
Chair, I just wanted to point out, we accidentally skipped a line there. There's also a variance for 100% of the landscaping requirements on the site.
am sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Now hit.
It is now 6:37. And at this time, I open the public hearing for a request for variance for the property located that we just spoke of at, where's the address on that? 505, excuse me. In Red Oak, Texas. That's 105 South Main.
Yeah, 105 South.
Do we swear him in?
Yes.
I ask anyone else who wants to speak to the board to stand up, raise their right hand, and be sworn in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Yes, sir. I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may be seated. Okay.
All right.
You start with the aerial.
Yeah.
view,
Yeah, we'll start
like
with
on
the
the
aerial.
map.
Actually, or if this one, we'll go to, we'll open up a different Google Maps.
Chair and members, this is Roderick Palmer. He's our new planning and zoning manager. You guys haven't got to meet him yet. Since our last meeting we had.
Mhm. All right, so this is the aerial of the subject property. So you can see the surrounding property, a surrounding area around it. Here, if you guys are wanting to see a street view of it, we can take a look at that as well. We read off the variance request for the property as it currently stands. Or as mentioned, the applicant is requesting a reduction of the front yard setback from 25 feet to 0 feet. The property line is essentially here. You do see that there is a pad of cement that's right in front of the property. However, that is not a part of the applicant's property. So they're requesting a variance to that front yard setback, which would usually be the 25 feet. Along with that, since we're talking about that front yard, they are also requesting a variance for the parking. Currently, they are showing that pad there, and they do have some area to where some people are parking in that area right in front. As you can kind of see, there's a truck right there that they're kind of parking on the side of that lot. So the area right here is a part of that, or that the property.
Can you go to the survey so they can see the actual built, the
We'll go to
property
that.
lines? that
We'll go
relate
back to
the
that
building?
survey. Sure. So here we are. So you can see that they do show a few parking spaces that are there. That is not a legal parking space as defined by our ordinance. It doesn't meet the parking requirements. So our parking requirements are the 9 by 20, but it does reduce down to 18 feet as far as the length if you do have a area for the overhang of a vehicle. So we don't calculate these parking spaces as legal parking spaces. That's why if you're looking at the parking requirements, then we're not calculating any legal parking spaces for the particular property. Okay.
But also not only because of the size, but also because they're not even on the site, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they're not on the site, as I mentioned previously. So the actual property, if you are able to view it, is going to be captured inside of what we have here. So the legal property is going to be here. I'm kind of going around it right now, is where that property is located at. So as with our aerial that we just viewed, is essentially there is a lot of concrete that's around that property. So they're requesting a variance to the landscaping as well. So as you can see, the property does not have or a lot of area to install the landscaping trees that are required in the front yard. So per our landscaping ordinance, we do require one 3-inch caliper tree along the street frontage. For this particular property, we would require one tree in that street frontage. They just have a lot of cement that's here. They don't have area to put that one tree in front of their property. The applicant is showing that they are looking to install planter boxes in the front of their property in lieu of the as a concession in lieu of the installing the landscaping that's required for the property. But on their property proper, they don't have any area to install the landscaping trees. The applicant is also requesting, as mentioned, a reduced lot depth of 80 feet in lieu of the required 100 feet per the C1 requirements. It's just kind of standard with what they have for their particular lot. So after we reviewed the zoning ordinance, that's just what their lot size requirements have for this particular property, as well as they're exceeding the maximum lot coverage. So the lot coverage allowed in the C1 is 40%, and they're at 50% for their particular lot. The building was built, of course, previously and before our zoning ordinance was adopted, as with a lot of the additional regulations that we have here. So there are a lot of variances that are brought before you, but due to the site that they currently have and the development standards that were in place prior to our zoning ordinance, that's what the applicant is bringing before you and saying why they cannot meet some of these standards that we do have. I think we kind of looked at some of those other items that we currently have. So, and along with that, they do have the last thing that we kind of haven't touched on yet is the reduced rear yard. So they're looking to have a reduced rear yard from 10 feet down to 2 feet in the rear yard. So back at the rear of the property here. So the C1 zoning district requires a 10-foot setback, and they're requesting a 2-foot setback in the rear yard as their setback for their property. And that, I think, kind of sums it up. Those setbacks, as far as the building placement, as well as kind of this building was in place prior to our zoning ordinance adoption as it currently sits. And that's it. I will allow, or you guys have any questions for me right now?
I'll let the applicant go and
Or, yeah, okay.
do questions if anything comes up. Did he give you a presentation or you gonna talk?
I
off
do
that
have a
page?
couple of pictures that he did submit to us. If you want to show those, we can show those.
Yeah, you can just show him where if he wants to talk about them.
You want to think about it?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Name and address to start it off.
Okay. Name is Gene Bond, 5435 Cripple Creek Circle, Midlothian, Texas, 76065. So, as many of you probably remember the first zoning case that we had, it's in the same area of downtown, similar, same exact variances with some new ones that we've identified based on lot depth, lot width, and rear setback. So this is basically the same case where we're just showing that we have a hardship because this building was built before the ordinance was put into place. A little bit about this building, if you've been in Red Oak a lot and you know the area really well, then you probably already know the history, but it was built in 1969 as a Red Oak State Bank. Roy Orr was the president. It's a very nice building on the inside because it was a bank. And I don't know how they operated a bank with just those 3 parking spots up front, but I guess they got by somehow.
We only had 6 people.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. The street view that we showed doesn't show the current condition. I don't know if we have that photo available, but it's not much different except for I've restriped it to show where the spots where the faded lines were. I've redone that. I've also, just one more correction, I've added some planters already to the front, some flowers, getting ready for fall.
That's what we're looking at here.
Yeah, that's what you're looking at there. I went down there Tuesday night and put those in because I had to, get somebody to make them, and then I went down there and put them in. But so those are fresh, just put in night before last. So yeah, I mean, landscaping wise, we have one tree on the back of the building. It's really close to the back of the building. It's in between the building and the alley. We need 1.25 trees, and as you saw in the front, it's kind of a hardship to find places to plant those trees, along with 25 feet of screening shrubs. That would be a little bit difficult to accomplish, obviously, because of the hardship of the way the building is set. On the west side of the building, there's an area that is grass, but it's close to the building next to it, and it's mainly used for drainage and just for air conditioning equipment. On the parking, thanks to the team here at Red Oak, I'm starting to study this and look at this a little bit differently. We don't have any parking. That's obvious from the survey. We don't own that parcel in front. It's kind of always served, the front of those areas have always been served as parking for those businesses for many years. This business was leased as an office, an insurance company up until last year. So up until recently. And that insurance company was there for, I believe, over 20 years. And so not a whole lot of in and out traffic, as you can imagine. Insurance business is kind of low key. So I wanted to mention that as well. But we do see a lot of parking opportunities on Main, parallel to Main. So if there was a need for additional parking, Main, I put 9 spots on that survey just to show you that kind of how we could fit 9 easily. But it's really only limited to the length of Main Street. Setbacks, I'm not going to talk too much about that. Obviously, there's a major hardship there because, you know, we're closer to the street, closer to the rear. The 40% lot coverage, we're at 50%. So close, but still it is what it is. Lot width and lot depth, same thing, and rear setback is the same thing as well. So basically, this has been an office for 20 years up until recently. And so we're trying to lease it now to an office again to basically be a nice place for an accounting firm or something along those lines. I've got a couple of prospects lined up. We already had the building leased, but they couldn't wait past August 1st. And so they had to release in the shopping center next door. So I lost that opportunity for a long-term office tenant pending doing the right thing, getting the variances. So that's what we did. Another thing I would like to mention is, you know, my company, we support small businesses. I think I mentioned that last time we met. And I want to congratulate everyone that approved the last variances because you've definitely done something significant for Red Oak. Not only have you created sales tax revenue that is off the charts compared to what we thought the building would generate, you're also creating jobs. There's 6 or 7 full-time jobs now in that space. And there's a flyer that was just posted on social media the other day looking to hire 6 more positions. So thank you for the supporting small businesses.
That was the Cedric Frazier experience you're speaking of? The
Correct.
restaurant?
Yes. And so that's turned out to be a wildly successful endeavor because they have what they call their Soul Food Sundays. And for the past, I don't remember if it was 6 or 8 Sundays, they've sold out before 4 o'clock when they close. There's lines around the building. People are coming to Red Oak for this attraction. There's a big voice on social media about the need for that. And I know this meeting today is about this specific building, but it's no different than the last building. It's just a building in old downtown that needs to be used. And so that's why we're here today asking for to identify these hardships and then just asking for a variance so that we can get another great business in Red Oak. And with that, I'll leave it up to you guys if you have any questions or if you need anything else from me.
I do have a question. What would it take for you to actually come in compliance with what the city is asking for this building?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think it's possible. I've done what I've done on the other buildings, which is install planters. So it gives it more of a landscaping appeal. So we've already addressed that. Creating, how many parking spaces is it? Ashley, do you remember exactly? Okay. So,
Gene, I could go through them.
we're required 6, so I don't have room for 6 spaces on site. However, I do have space to park on parallel like I'm showing here on Main up to just 9 in the front view of the building, but obviously Main Street's a lot longer. Setbacks, that would require probably tearing down the building and, you know, cutting the building down, I guess. Let's see what else. Maximum lot coverage, the lot's not much bigger than the building.
Okay.
That would also be taking down the building as well. So,
Correct.
Okay. So the city is asking you to, the,
Can I explain the process for everybody?
yes,
Sure, please.
okay, go ahead.
So when a building owner comes in and like he said, it was another office for however long, but then it went vacant. And so our ordinance says that if a place is vacant over 180 days, then it loses its what we call non-conforming rights. And so it was vacant for too long and now we have to treat it like it's a brand new building. And so we
Right.
then go to the portion of our ordinance that says it now needs to comply with parking, landscaping and all these other things. And so that's when we have to tell the applicant, we can't issue a CO for this anymore because it's out of compliance. Here's the things you need to do to come into compliance. And so that's what's all listed right here. And like you mentioned, it'd be things like tearing down the building and
Right.
I mean, you'd have to even tear down more of the building to get the parking to be on the site too, right? So that's kind of how the process works and how we end up.
Okay, and so I'm pro city. I'm sorry, this is my city. And if the city is asking for a reason, I mean, if they're asking to do this, they're doing it for a reason. I don't know if it's for safety or whatever the reason is, but you open the door to say how the other building is doing. You mentioned another building when we were talking about that situation, same thing you did today. We're talking about this specific building, not in other buildings or in any other properties. We're talking about this building here. And, you know, that did bother me the last time you did that. You did it again today. You took us to a different situation when we're speaking of this building. I'm actually, to be honest, just saying, why can't we do what it takes to make it and to bring it in compliance if it's that important, you know, and I think that'll help our city more I mean, I know it's not that easy. I know it's not that simple, but to try to bring it to compliance of what the city is asking for. You know?
So I appreciate you letting me know that. It helps me a lot.
Yes, sir.
What I was speaking to specifically is not necessarily the other building, it's more of the approved variances that we got on the other building, which helped that building come into fruition the same way this building needs to be helped to come into fruition, because it's been leased for 20 years.
Mhm.
If you went to a normal person walking down the street that doesn't know city government code ordinances, and you said, hey, this was an insurance agency for 20 years, and 2 months later, it cannot be an insurance agency any longer, a new insurance company moves in, that person would probably say, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So if you're pro city and you're pro business, small business, you're helping downtown, because instead of having a vacant building, you're now having an office where an accounting firm can operate and serve the city, the citizens of the city, or a like business. Now, there's no suggestion that you and I could come up with for this lot that would make any sense for a parking, if we would end up with literally a shack.
Right.
And so therefore, we've got something really cool. We got a bank building from 1969. We still have the original bank vault. Lots of history, lots of newspapers, lots of neat stuff. It's a great building for, you know, a group of accountants to sit in there every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and do accounting work. It's the ideal situation. So that's where, and who knows? I mean, there's other uses as well, but that's the prospect currently. Frankly, it's not a new project, so we're treating it as if it is, but it's really, we're not here to decide what the building is or isn't. We're here to decide, do I have a hardship for this? And the answer is yes, I do.
Understood. Thank you.
The only way I see you come into compliance is to literally tear down the back half of the building and put parking spaces back there. That'd be about it.
And we'd remove the bank vault. if we
Right,
did that.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah, there, I don't see any other,
be kind of challenging.
yeah, and the alleyway belongs to the city, I'm assuming, along with the parking spaces in the front. God, I wish they would not have revoked that.
Right.
that Parking overlay.
Well, this was already done, right?
Oh,
We all
no, yeah.
thought that this was already done.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
served on council and I found out 10 years later that something that I voted got approved and it really didn't, that
Yeah.
would really make me upset. And it's a shame that you and Mr. Hargrove have to feel like you did work and then it didn't get put into the book
Yeah.
for whatever reason. and
Roderick,
can't really answer
you
it.
show the street view and turn it around on,
Yeah.
so we can see the other side of the street.
And how deep are those, I guess, technically pretend parking spaces in the front there?
They're deeper than any building on that side.
Yeah, they're deeper than, but, you know, as you know, on time right there, we have a perfect view of that one where we
Yeah,
have,
He's hanging out in the main.
yeah, they're hanging out in the main
I-
and,
I can
Roger,
park,
go behind the building.
yeah,
so
I
it's
can park my
outside.
truck there and I'm not obstructing traffic.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, my thought was if you put them on an angle, you could actually be where you're almost impossible to block any traffic that.
Yes, of course. And you know, there's a lane next to it that's concrete. And the reason why is because that was a drive-through window there, as you can see,
Mhm.
for the bank when they had a teller and a drive-through many years ago.
Okay, now I've got vertigo.
Yeah, you're on it right there, Robert.
That's right there.
Well, I was trying to show both
Okay.
sides.
Thank you.
Can't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, so just for quick numbers, I just calced it out here. So the lot's 4,000 square feet, and to do the setbacks and parking, you'd be looking at 2,700 square feet of the lot being parking and setbacks. That doesn't include landscaping. So it would be tough to, if we were building a new building on this, it certainly would be extremely, like you said, it'd be a shack.
It'd have to be a small
Essentially.
building, yeah. Or we could turn it into a parking lot. Joke.
Have you been saying you wanted a parking lot down there?
Take my heart medication. In all seriousness, this is, look, I mean, if I haven't conveyed it, I need to. I am passionate about downtown Red Oak. I want it to be successful. I'm tired of it being a ghost town. And as you can see, in the past 3 years, we have absolutely single-handedly as a company revitalized this area when no one else has. We now have a men and women's high-end hair salon. We've got a very successful church going on their 4th year. I mean, we just care about it, you know, and we can't operate under these regulations and help these small business owners. I mean, we've lost one already. So it's like, let's keep building this area. We don't have much further to go. Got one more building, one more use, one more case. And then we're set and we're fully stabilized in downtown Red Oak. How good of a feeling is that to say our town has a place for?
Respectfully said, I agree with you. I live downtown Red Oak, so,
Okay.
but I wanted to look the part as well.
Okay.
And I agree with you. I do want it to grow, you know, but I wanted to look the part as well.
The
You know,
only way to make it look the
and
part-
leaving it like this, to me, this is my opinion. You know, I want, again, you know, it looks matter when outsiders come in.
Well, let me win you over. Tell me an idea. I'll do it. I mean, I'm trying to find some reason to make everyone happy.
This is the back part.
I
of
really
this
do.
building.
Respect your opinion.
No.
Right.
This.
Thank you.
Okay, I was gonna say, man, that's nice.
Okay, and it butts up.
And I do get what
you.
you're trying to do, and I respect that.
Imagine if another
Which
vote went
obviously is
south last time, we wouldn't have such a
driveway.
Right.
Road,
Red Oak
yeah.
in a while. And it was able to
Clean this
natural
part
growth.
up a little bit.
Yeah. That's-
Ben, is it possible at some point, not related to this, but possible at some point the council discuss downtown specific, because this is piecemeal, like and I think
Oh, yeah.
that's his point, and I agree.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
back.
But without council giving us a vision or an overall plan,
Mhm.
Right,
like, you know, piecemeal is what we're doing.
yeah. You're talking about my favorite item that I put for that
I'm not
at
really-
the budget.
See, well,
I hear you.
But I got turned down.
Okay,
so-
okay.
well, I think that's where it went wrong at the
Yeah.
beginning was because they started doing it as a vision. They don't need a vision.
Yeah.
These buildings exist. We
Right.
cannot change them.
Right.
Fundamentally change them. And I mean, if you want to, you know, we want to tell them, hey, we need a new front facade on that building.
Or-
That's cool.
Or, okay, flip it the exact other way. Maybe council wants to just bulldoze the whole thing.
Buy the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, I mean, so either way, whichever it is.
Yes.
We need, I mean, it's gonna be hard for us to make all these decisions
Yeah.
without a council. I know we're
Some
independent.
kind of
but
clarification.
Yeah, some sort of an overall plan. of
Okay,
where
you're
you-
exactly right. Yeah, we're gonna be doing piecemeal in each, and there's gonna be more come forward
Right.
as businesses change hands and.
Is that
Yeah.
possible?
Only one more from
And
me.
you have vacancies.
Yeah, but let's remember what we're talking
Yeah,
about today.
yeah,
correct.
And that you guys are separate and you're
Yes.
granting variances from the ordinances that council approved, right?
Correct.
Well, and I have to think, and maybe, I know the guy who rented that for, it was more than 20 years. And he rented it when I moved here in 96, so it was more than that. But I guarantee you that the building owner did not pour that right there. That alley and that right there was probably poured by the city at that point. So, they obviously agreed to it then.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so it is what it is in this case. Now, I do think that putting diagonal parking spaces may be a good idea,
Mhm.
like they have. I think that might be good, but other than that, I mean, you're right. There's very little fundamental changes that can be done without raising the building.
Yeah.
And a large portion of the building.
And I don't think that's necessary.
And it's, yeah. Because then it becomes an unviable spot
Yeah.
all the way around.
Just to that point, though, there wouldn't be any way to tell him to do the diagonal parking. 'Cause
No, no,
it's
no, no, no,
not
no.
On
No.
his property.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
yeah. I'm thinking for the city.
Okay, yeah.
City comes in and stripes it at an angle instead, because it's.
I think we should make Main
City
Street a
can't
one-way street.
Come in.
It could be. The problem is that, the only problem with the one-way Main Street there is, getting to school at the high school in the morning. That's the issue.
Make it run this way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's,
But that would open up 100 parking spots for the
oh,
entire
yeah,
downtown.
yeah.
'Cause then you could have parallel parking all the way through and it would be really nice.
But that's a city.
Striped park.
That's a city council
We're
item.
gonna park there.
But I feel like we got a bunch of ZBOA members that maybe should come to council.
Hey,
guys.
Well, yeah. We thought we had this all before, but it didn't have, so it is what it is. But I mean, I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else have any
Anybody else,
questions?
any questions at
I don't
all?
have any questions.
Which way to proceed? I would like to,
Do we want to close the public hearing?
Yeah.
I'd like to close it, yeah.
I'd move we close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I've got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Drake, I.
Well, gentlemen, we've got this before us and I think we might have a consensus. I'm not sure. Do I have any positive things more that we want to say about this?
Well,
Because we're going to have to make a
Right.
decision.
yeah, and today we just have what we have, but as I think we
Right.
all know, it's a bigger, this is gonna recur across the
Right.
board here, but. And that's where, again, this doesn't relate to this, but if council. If you want to tell council that we said this at this meeting for some overall vision behind this, of where they want to go with this, that would be greatly appreciated.
Legally, I don't think that they can do that. Like he said, we have the opportunity to come to council meetings to get that knowledge. I think that's the only way that we can do that.
But they can't just
We can't
discuss it like
discuss,
a,
yeah, we can't discuss. it.
no, but they can, can't they?
They can't even discuss it outside of council. It was put on the agenda.
No, but the overall vision, they could, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, not this particular.
Right, no, I know, but if the overall, what I'm saying is if we had sort of a guideline from council, here's our downtown business, downtown plan. And here's what we don't want, and here's what we do want, that would be helpful.
Right.
Which is, I think, what your point is. But that being said, I would move we approve ZBA 25-02 as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
You go.
Yeah. I did.
Okay. So we got three yays and one nay.
It's on
You
you. now.
vote too,
It's
right?
on you. It's on you.
I
vote.
didn't know I had to
You
do it.
vote too.
I thought I was the golden child.
There's-
Didn't happen. Yay. So it's,
Nay.
yay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
4-1.
4-1. Sorry. I'm a little new at this. I'm feeling like I'm,
A little bit different.
I feel like Gilbert Pyle. Yeah. Okay.
Start using that.
Yeah, do this. Well, he was promised me he would knock me in the head. Okay,
I don't.
Let's go to the next one.
Yep.
Okay,
There you go.
sorry. We are going to conduct a public hearing and consider a variance request to allow a reduced front yard setback from 25 feet to 0 feet adjacent to North Interstate 35 East and 10 feet along Norton Drive, a variance to allow 12 parking spaces on site in lieu of the required 18 parking spaces that is required for current proposed permitted uses in the designated C1 Commercial District 1 zoning district. A variance for 100% of the landscaping requirements along the street frontage for the site, and a variance to allow a reduced lot depth of 62 feet from the required 100 feet per C1 Commercial District 1 development regulations on a site addressed as 505 North Interstate 35 East in the city of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas. Requested by Maxwell Fisher, Mr. Fisher. It is now 7:07. At this time, I open a public hearing for this request for a variance for the property located at 505. Where am I? Sorry, North Interstate 35 East. I would ask anyone who wants to speak to the board to stand up, raise their right hand, and be sworn in. Okay.
You're all set.
I'm already sworn in.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay.
All right.
Just members, real quick, the item 3 and 4 are extremely similar. So just take that into account when we're listening to all this.
I mean, 2 and 3.
I'm sorry, no, 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4.
3 and 4 are neighboring properties with the same applicant.
All right.
So
So
go ahead and read the other one then at the same time.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, we'll have to open it separately.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
okay. So as you just mentioned, and similar to our previous agenda case. So this one, they are requesting a front yard, a variance to the front yard setback. And they actually have 2 front yards for this one. So along the I-35 side and along the northern side. So this one has double frontage. So they're requesting the variance to the I-35 side from the 25-foot front yard setback down to 0 because of the way that the lot, the way that the lot is kind of cut from the right of way taking from I-35. So the lot kind of comes down and it does kind of a shift that's to the front yard. They actually have a awning in the front of their building that kind of is going to get taken off. So they're requesting to reduce it down to 0 so they can kind of have their awning kind of right there at their property line, which is where their front porch area kind of gets to. And along the northern side is where their building is already placed at. And we'll kind of look at the aerial at. So their front yard is actually going to be requested to be taken down to 10 feet along the northern side. It's usually a 25-foot in the C1 front yard setback. So they have double frontage, like I said, a street here and a street there. Of course, the freeway's here. So they're reducing it down here from the right of way taking. They're requesting it to 0 here and to 10 feet along the frontage along Norton Road. They're also requesting the reduction to the parking for this particular area. So as you can kind of see, their parking area is going to be here. They do show some parking here. You can see vehicles here. However, there is no access to the spaces that are here. So we can't count those as parking spaces for this particular site. Okay, because there's no access here. So this lot and this lot shares a area here. The access is between the 2 lots. They don't have a shared drive or anything like that. So it's kind of we don't count it for either one of those lots or for that lot in particular because they don't have a shared access or any shared drives between the lots. So there's no shared commonality for the lots. So
Meaning they don't have a platted common access easement, so they don't have
right.
Could that-
legal
Could
rights.
that be a cheat?
The property to the south would have to replat, or
Yeah, they would have to,
they would have to get an access easement from.
right.
So, but it could be done.
I'm sorry.
but it could be done.
It would be rather difficult.
They-
So when this came in, it's a very old lot, so they kind of have non-conforming lot configurations
Okay.
for these. It's platted, but it's very
You know,
old.
somebody's gonna ask that question.
You said what?
Somebody's gonna ask that question.
Yeah, you guys certainly are.
Well,
It's
for
it's a
that matter,
very
isn't the
old.
gas station gonna be in the same boat now?
They are. They
In
are.
terms of, yeah.
But yeah, but we aren't talking about them. We're talking about the we don't not today. We don't like
Okay,
them
but I
today.
mean, that's probably why they replat their setback.
Uh-huh.
Are out too.
Yeah, so at some time they may work that out, but just currently, we can't count those parking spaces, which puts them at a deficit for their parking, which is why their parking is only
So,
limited to here.
I know the guy who put that building up.
You do?
Yes, I do. I know him. I've known him for a
Oh,
long time. I
man.
know exactly who put it up. And when he got approved, they approved those spaces as being spaces.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only way he got to, it's the only way he was able to get a permit.
Oh,
'Cause there
man.
was not enough spaces on that north side in
Uh-huh.
order to accommodate that. So at some point, someone addressed that drive situation in some document here.
And what they say
Otherwise-
about it?
Otherwise, he would never,
Wouldn't have gotten it done.
he wouldn't have gotten it done. If you'll notice, the other building just north of there is also the one he put up.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice the configurations are almost identical.
Like when do you think that was?
That was that was right after the building that where Red Oak Drug is. The one right beside it, he built that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one beside it. And then
Right.
he bought those two lots. And both of those were approved with that parking as
Mhm.
being a shared, because that's the only way he could get it approved.
Where I'm going with that, is that pre-fire?
That was, yeah, because that was in
Yeah.
to two, I think I was sick here.
O2.
No, it was 99, between 99 and 02, yeah, yeah,
So pre-fire.
yeah, 99 and 02. Yeah, and
Okay.
so, yeah, he's a fairly seasoned developer, so he would not even have bought the lots knowing that he could not get parking on there.
Mm-hmm. So look, so we do show a release of a previous properties where where an easement went to both of these and it was released. So there may have been some additional information there. However, all of the information that we currently show is that there's a property line that goes between these.
Mm.
And there is no shared access information between these. I will be interested to see that information though.
Yeah, I
but
mean, I can give you his phone number and you can.
oh,
call
no,
him,
no,
and you
no.
can
We're
call him
not,
direct-
we're not here for that today.
Yeah,
We
because-
look, when you're
because-
trying to
because-
postpone, they're trying to get a variance
Yeah, well,
today.
I-
We're veering off to the side.
Well, future reference. because
Oh,
he
gotcha.
built both, because the other building's going to be coming to you in the not too distant future as well. So I
Uh-huh.
know this is gonna happen. So
Uh-huh.
that being the case, you might as well have the information now instead of having to
Uh-huh.
wander around in the dark on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, we are certainly going to have to see if we can get that information. It's always wonderful to have historical information for our properties. But unfortunately today, Mr. Maxwell is trying to get a variance for the parking for this one. So maybe but yeah, we'll gather that information for future reference. So they are looking for a variance for the parking that they currently have to be available for all C1 uses that are able to be or that are able to go into this particular lot. Okay. The other request is for 100% of the landscaping requirements along the street frontage. As far as the trees that are required, so they're required 5 3-inch caliber trees along the I-35 frontage, and they are required 5 3-inch caliber trees along Norton Drive as well, as far as their street tree requirements, as well as the shrubbery that's required along those frontages also. 50% of the frontage for those particular those frontages, in which they are unable to put it in front of the 35 at the moment because of the taking of their properties. Okay. The other thing that they're requesting a variance for is going to be the lot depth requirement, in which because of taking, it shrinks down their lot. So they're requesting variance of that. So it's usually 100 feet. Right now, their lot is being reduced down to 62 feet. So they're requesting a variance for that as well. And those are the variances that they are requesting for this particular lot. They do have an exhibit to where they are proposing some landscaping to be installed on the lot. So we wanted to point that out. Along Norton Drive, they are proposing to have they have the 2 trees that are here in lieu of the 5, and some ornamental grass in front of the property, but no trees or anything like that. This could not be subsequent of the ordinance that we have, of course, because we aren't here to the variance would not be to modify the zoning ordinance. Want to make sure that you guys are aware of that will be a separate process in which you go and modify the zoning ordinance. That will be through like a zoning change or something like that. This is just concessions that the applicant has indicated that they are looking to make good of the ordinance by, since they do have a hardship, they recognize that, but they are trying to make good with the ordinance and install some type of landscaping at their property.
Sure.
Okay. And I
How
will allow-
many parking spaces are required for
Required,
that
yeah.
building? It can't be more than a couple difference
Well-
because I
It
count
looked like
12.
12
I
and
count-
then one.
I count 12 for that building, and that building's only 3,000 square feet?
Well, there isn't a overall just number of parking spaces that's just allotted for a building. It will depend on the uses that go inside of that
Yeah,
building.
but I mean, even if we went to the lowest at 1 per 200,
Mhm.
that means it would need 15, right? And they're at 12, is that right?
Right.
The
So
low-
yeah. So
the
right.
lowest is 1 per 75. So if they put like a little smoothie shop
Oh,
or
gotcha,
something in
gotcha, yeah,
there.
yeah, like a drive-through smoothie shop. kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So even with what they're requesting right now, so with the uses that they have right now, it would require 18 parking spaces.
18, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Under current.
Yeah, under their current tenants.
Yeah.
Require 18 spaces.
And so this is because you're not counting these ones that are on the south side of the building.
Can't count them.
No, but I mean,
Since you can't count.
won't, whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
They're not gonna show up. But they're still gonna be used for that purpose. I mean, no, there's not gonna be another purpose, correct?
Yeah, practically speaking,
Yes.
people can still use them, but also practically speaking, the
Legalities.
Valero can go over there and put their dumpster and we can't tell them not to put it
So
there. You know
Valero
what I mean?
actually owns those spaces?
Where the
Well, I mean, they
access is
can
at.
put it where it blocks the
Oh,
access. I
okay,
get
okay,
it.
got you.
Right.
Okay, all
Yeah.
got you.
So kind of how you were mentioning the previous owner has the lots. So if you see where the lot line is lined out, right?
Yep.
So the access to that lot for those parking spaces is on that lot. So right here, this is where access to their parking lot is. The lot north of there, which we will discuss next, the access to their parking lot is on their lot. Okay, so, and the lot south of there is going to be a similar situation to where the access to onto their site and to where their parking would be is on their lot. So I know this is going further into what
Yeah,
we were
well, I
discussing,
mean,
but just
we're
wanted to
talking about
provide
the same
that
thing.
clarity. Yeah, no. Yeah, I just wanted to provide
Because
that.
the guy built both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
I'm sure that's how this parking got done, was because they were both done at the same time,
Uh-huh.
approved at the same time by the same owner. And so that's how we.
We're
wound
not
up
disputing.
getting-
We're not disputing. We're not
You're being
disputing.
too logical and reasonable.
Yeah,
about
we're
zoning
not
here.
disputing.
It was Wild West back then, right? But no,
I mean, but I'm serious. I mean, when you talk about zoning, it's
Yeah.
just black and white on the paper. And that's
Yeah.
where
Right.
where you get stuck as staff going, well, crap, we have to do it
Yeah.
like this. So not because it makes sense, but because that's what it says to do. We don't get the leeway to go, well, so,
Common sense would tell you that.
yeah, that's right.
Go ahead. Your name and your address, please.
Sure. Chairman, board members, my name is Maxwell Fisher with Zone Dev, 2502 Grandview Drive, Richardson, Texas, 75080. I'm representing Cyram Realty on this first request. We appreciate your time and consideration this evening. We do have a hardship that we are asking you to fill. Our main issue is that we cannot release or re-tenant a vacant space because it's been dark for more than 6 months. And so the way the city's code reads is that we can't refill that space. We're not asking for a redevelopment in this case. We're asking simply to reoccupy an existing dark space on the property. TxDOT, as you know, is doing a lot of work on I-35. They've come in and taken what they call parcel 36, which is an approximately 4,824 square foot parcel that expands over both properties, the one that we're discussing now and the one we're going to discuss. And it took roughly 17 feet of front yard. These properties are already challenged. Understand Mr. McNally is very familiar with the property, and not only has TxDOT come in and taken the property, but these properties were already challenged that they're what's called a through lot. It has frontages on both sides, so you have a reduced buildable area as it is. And then there's also been right of access. There was an access easement or area to the south that is basically the backup area for those parking spaces that you're referring to on the south side. That used to be in place, and that used to be legitimate parking. Now we still use it. We have full access. The most southern tenant uses, people park there and customers use that parking area. But it's true. I mean, the fuel station could come in, I suppose, and maybe redevelop and put the building really close to where those spaces are not accessible. They could put their dumpster there or something like that. But they are accessible. We plan on using them in the near future and maybe for years to come. So that we have a created substandard building setback situation here by the taking, and then the lot depth issue. We have reduced parking, even though the spaces on the south side count, we're still short a few, and so we have a hardship here. We think that the action taken by TxDOT and the application of the city regulations does deprive the owner of the land use rights that another owner would have. And so they don't have the same privilege that other owners would have on a property that does comply. So we do think there's a hardship here, basically that's unnecessary and that could be remedied through this board, and that's what we're asking for. Here's a site plan. I went over some of these things already. Our awning encroaches slightly. You can see where the property cuts back even more closer to the building. The very small corner of the awning is over. We will, of course, be altering that and making sure the awning is only on our property. So we'd be asking for a 0-foot setback for that awning section. And then there's a greater setback as you head across the front of the building. Building setbacks, lot depth, parking. I'll be happy to answer any questions about any of those things. The vacancy is a Suite 400. It's in 1,000 square foot area, tenant space. So we would like to release that space, with this approval. Here's some recent pictures. You can see it's still kind of a construction war zone out there. Our access is this temporary asphalt gravel area in between the buildings. And then you can see there's the whole front area is disrupted. I don't know if you saw the commitment letter that we have. We couldn't tie it to the request because it's just not part of a purview of the board. But we do plan on painting the building, altering that awning, and then adding some landscaping. Once the TxDOT improvements are done, once they've removed the area, all the dust is out of the way, and we have an area that's basically complete. We do plan on adding some ornamental grasses. There is a small area that is in our front yard that's not in the right of way. We don't have room for trees, but we do have room for some ornamental grasses along the front that we will definitely put in. And there's 2 crepe myrtles missing in the back along Norton. And so we will replace those as well. So there's a total of, I think, four on the back there. To conclude, as I said, this is a TxDOT taking. We have a true hardship here. Our variances are created mainly by either the building built before the ordinances or because of the recent TxDOT construction that's made some of these elements worse. We believe that the compliance issue prevents the releasing and deprives the owner of land use rights. It perpetuates vacancy. If we can't release the building to another tenant, then it just creates a vacant space and maintains a vacant space, and we have trouble potentially paying our mortgage on the property. The variance requested meets the criteria. It's not self-created. It's created by a governmental entity. And it's not contrary to the public interest. And I'd be happy to answer any questions on this request and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, you have any questions? Mr. Maxwell? Or Fisher, excuse me.
Ben, I'd have a question just in general. If we approve this request, would it be just for this building? In other words, they couldn't take this variance and add on to it or change the building or?
They could change the building, but it would have to meet all the requirements of the variance.
Right, and so to that point, I guess we've got we would be granting the setbacks so specific that if they added on, it would then be out of,
Right.
okay, it would,
Well, yeah, so in this case, though, the front one was gonna be 0 because the awning goes right up to the property line, and they're
right.
gonna have to cut it even
Right,
to
right.
get it at 0.
but for instance, if we're, if we're given the variance on the parking and then all of a sudden they could say, well, let's knock this out and add on.
I can answer it too if you want me
They
to.
couldn't, could they though? Cause then what they added would be.
Would
out
take,
of the-
yeah, it would take away it, but if they added on and took away parking spaces, well, they'd have to come back and try to get a variance again, but then that would be self-created, then you
Right,
have to.
cause we're naming the specific spots that currently
Right,
exist. Okay.
Yeah.
And Chair, if I could interject. So basically, if you all do approve the request, it's to the specific details that's requested. And if we went in there and we tried to add to the front of the building, we would be increasing the degree of nonconformity and the city would, it'd be an issue. We wouldn't get a permit for that.
So you're also gonna have to cut off some of that concrete where the awning is, or are you just gonna leave the concrete? Are there?
Typically setback, if it's just concrete of low, it's usually not a structure. But we may, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, as
Yeah,
long as it's just
Yeah,
not
it's
a,
like the awning. I know
vertical
that building-
structure.
I know that building real well, and that awning comes to the very end of that concrete, and then, so if you cut off the awning, the concrete's still there. I mean, it's not a big deal, but
yeah,
yeah.
We'll look
As
at-
it was drawn here, it looks like as though
yeah.
the property line goes across the concrete, and if TxDOT wants you to cut it up, or they want to cut it up, you don't have much choice.
Yeah, they probably don't care that close to the building.
Yeah,
And-
the setbacks only apply to the vertical structure,
Exactly.
not the flat work.
Okay,
Right.
gotcha.
Any further
So
questions?
why
or-
is this denied by council?
This did not go to council. This came before staff and staff had to read the rules and then their alternative is to come to you guys and say, we don't want to follow the rules.
And basically the widening of the service road has now put them in violation.
Right, so if, I mean, I didn't research everything, but my assumption is that if they would have come in for a tenant change and TxDOT had not taken this, they would have gotten it no problem, right?
Can you come up? Yes.
Yeah, I guess you guys didn't have any trees out there, so we might have hit you with the trees or something.
Been some landscaping, requirements that they would have had to meet. So as Ben said, trees, shrubs. We probably would have counted the parking on the other side. So the parking probably would have been fine. But we definitely would have got them at landscaping. And so it would have still been in, but they potentially, as long as they could have met the requirements, we would have issued a CO.
And if the TxDOT didn't take that right away, we
TxDOT
could do the landscape, we would do
Right.
the landscape.
So the landscaping can still be done.
Only,
Just
no,
not
TxDOT took
now.
the right of way.
Not-
We can only do a limited amount of landscaping, which is the ornamental grasses instead of trees along the front. Because we can't put those trees in the right of way. Another point I'd like to make, if I could, is it's very, I've been doing this in cities. I used to work for a city. I used to be a planning commissioner. Been doing this for over 20 years. It's very unusual for a city to require a Board of Adjustment case on a non-conforming issue for just a release of a building. Usually you have to propose something of construction. So it's very unusual. So that's why you're seeing some of these property owners are trying, especially on multi-tenant buildings, and you'll probably continue to see them because of the way the ordinance is written.
Agree.
Any other questions or? Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay,
Drake, I.
thank you. Okay. We're going to conduct a public hearing.
Oh, we need to.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought we'd already closed it.
No, now you gotta decide.
No, well, I just figured you guys already made a decision. It's a secret ballot.
I pose a motion to deny.
We've got a motion to deny. Do I hear a second? Are there any other motions?
I move we approve ZBA 25-03 as presented.
Okay,
Second.
got a motion, got a second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
One, two,
And yourself.
3, 4, 4, 1. Okay. Now then. We're going to conduct a public hearing and consider a variance request to allow a reduced front yard setback from 25 feet to 13 feet adjacent to North Interstate 35E and 11 feet along Norton Drive, a variance to allow 12 parking spaces on site in lieu of the required 25 parking spaces as required for current proposed permitted uses in the designated C1 Commercial District 1. A variance for 100% of the landscaping requirements along the street frontage for the site, and a variance to allow a reduced lot depth of 74 feet from the required 100 feet per C1 Commercial District 1 development regulations on a site addressed at 507 North Interstate 35 in Red Oak, City of Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas, requested by Maxwell Fisher.
So you can just open the public hearing and everybody else is
Yes.
sworn in now.
This has already been sworn in. It is now 7:34. And at this time, I open the public hearing for this request for a variance for the property at 507 North Interstate 35E. Everybody's been sworn in. So we're open.
All right, thank you, Chair, and thank you, board members. So this is our last agenda item for the evening. This one actually is similar to the adjacent property that we just had that we just spoke about, and it has the similar item or similar concerns there. For this one, they're requesting a reduced front yard setback from 25 feet to 13.3 feet along the interstate, so 35, and from 25 feet to 11.6 feet along the rear of Norton Drive. So because of similar reasons, so the right of way taking along 35, and then because of just where the building was placement on Norton. So, and then they're also requesting the reduction of the required parking. They only have 12 parking spaces on this particular lot, from the required 25 spaces per the uses that they have on this one, is what they are requesting for that. They're also requesting a variance for the 100% of the landscaping requirements along the frontage on 35. And then for the rear property, because they are unable to meet the requirement for the 4 3-inch caliper trees along 35, and then the 2 3-inch caliper trees along Norton Drive, that they will be required here. And then the 75 feet of shrubbery along 35, and the 33 linear feet of shrubbery along Norton back here for this one. So because we calculate the area of along, of course, the parking lot or all of their frontage that they have there. And the last one is for the lot depth. So because of the taking, it's the 100 feet of lot depth, and because of the taking, they're requesting to have 74 feet.
I know it's supposed to look pretty and all that jazz, but it's a detriment.
And that's it with this one. You guys have any questions on my side?
So the parking spots on the north side are identical to the parking spots on the south side of the other building, is that correct?
No, their parking is just here.
No,
For
because
the north
on,
building.
on that one, the schematic.
It's
you
kind
got
of a
through-
mirror.
Yeah, on that schematic it was popped up before, it showed parking spaces on the north end of the building. See them right there?
This is their parking.
Yeah,
I
but
think-
it's on the other property.
Right,
Right,
yeah,
that's what-
it's just kind of a
Right.
mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
right.
essentially the same.
Same
Yeah,
scenario.
Where
It's not
it's-
counted.
This one's more not
Uh,
counted because it's
right.
not even on the property,
Right, yeah.
right? The other one,
Yeah.
the one on the south, they actually were on the property. They just have technical access to it.
Gotcha.
Right.
It's fun stuff.
So those particular phantom spots actually belong to the church building, is that correct?
So-
Or building? Is
So
that
the
correct?
adjacent property to the north,
Yes,
potentially so. I think that you can
And do what?
speak with the applicant. He'll be able
Okay,
to
good.
express that.
well, I just figured, I mean, it's, you know,
Then you lose 4 spots.
Well, you wouldn't have to have a drive-through
But-
there,
I'll
but.
allow
you'd
the
have to go
applicant
through
to
the here
speak to
do
those
this. I don't know,
questions.
seems like
For
they
your
could
presentation,
mutually
Jacob.
agree to that.
Well, it's the same owner.
yeah, everybody.
They don't have to do anything.
Chair,
Yeah.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
board members, Maxwell Fisher, 2502 Grandview Drive, Richardson, Texas 75080, representing Cyram. Just have a few more slides on this last item. So we don't have any awning issues here. It's simply the landscaping, the lot depth, and the building setbacks created by the tech stop taking by a governmental entity. So that's created a hardship to where we're simply asking a remedy so we can continue to lease and release the building as they've been used on these challenging through lots. Here's a couple pictures that show the showed before. We are planning to also do ornamental grasses here along the frontage once TxDOT is complete with their construction zone up against the property.
Seems to me.
So again, we have a pre-existing development that's developed prior to some of your current codes. Compliance issue prevents owner from releasing the properties. It deprives the owner of land use rights and perpetuates vacancy. The variances are requested meet the criteria of approval that aren't contrary to the public interest and are not self-created. And just to clarify as well, those parking spaces on the north side are on the property to the north, and they're generally used by the property to the north of us, not our property. Our parking is on the south between the two buildings that we own.
So there's no parking agreement or easement or anything with that building at all.
There's not, but there's since they're churches, there's actually a really good parking management team on Sunday that coordinates with the people coming in and using the parking. It's actually one of the better ones I've ever seen when I actually visited on a Sunday during church, since there's a couple churches. So it is managed, but nothing formal on paper.
Yeah, because there's, shared parking agreements all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area where
Yeah.
the buildings have inadequate parking, and then from X amount of time to X amount of time during the week to meet parking requirements, because I've had to do it on a building in Dallas, so.
Yeah, time of
And-
day,
and in
time of
fact,
day chart.
and
Yeah.
Right now, I just gotta,
Yeah.
just to terminate one that's 15 years old.
Yep.
So I'm very familiar with how these work, and, so that's something that would be doable except for on Sundays and Wednesdays or something like that, right?
Yeah, the good news is that when the church is busy on Sundays, the other businesses are not. So our peak hours are actually complementary in this case. On Sundays is when we have the most traffic, but that's also what the good news is there's a little less traffic on the roads generally on Sunday than there is during the week. So
Yeah, I drove by there this last Sunday morning, and the church hasn't, I'm sure absolutely were using their parking Sunday morning because their parking has just been decimated right now by what's coming in front. So
So,
it kind of works out together.
maybe they can get a pull out parking.
Well, yeah.
And the church to the north of us is, it's actually bigger and they have more need for parking than we do. Our church is a little smaller. But there is coordination and there's also, they feed all the neighbors regularly in that community and they actually have an agreement to where they park over there and they work, they work. Usually they don't, it would be a situation where you wouldn't get along and they get along great, with their neighbors there from what my limited experience. So.
Any other discussion? Thank you.
So thank you, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So
Thank
we
you
would,
very
we
much,
would,
Mr.
on the backside, you were saying, not enough room in the easement, on Norton Drive for any trees.
So there's some existing, I wish I had a picture with me. There are some, you can see on the aerial, there's some existing landscaping. There's a couple trees back there
You can probably hit it on
Uh,
street view.
already and okay. Yeah.
Oh, well.
And there's actually, the right of way it stops. See how the right of way stops there? Yeah, right there. See how the pavement stops? So there's a tree and then
Oh.
a landscaping shrub and a rock. I guess a rock doesn't really count as landscaping, but hardscape. And then there's landscaping that contributes to complying with the code. It doesn't comply fully, but it contributes to complying along the parking lot there. And then the ornamentals that we're gonna replace in the far back on the other property. Basically, it screens the dumpster. There's a screening device, but there's also landscaping to soften the view of the dumpster, and it contributes towards the parking lot landscaping screening.
Anything else?
Any of those buildings vacant?
Yeah, one suite is vacant right now, and that's the one we'd like to reoccupy, and we can't. Yeah.
It was in pharmacy or no pharmacy.
Yeah, it's been vacant for some time, and we'd like to release it. It's dark.
Okay.
I move we close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor? Yeah. That's what
Aye.
we're okay.
Aye.
Sorry. Okay. Well, since this is the last item on the agenda, gentlemen, I'd like to hear
I
your
can,
ideas.
well, I can tell you that this has been a beef of mine for years and years. The idea of putting large trees in right of ways is a horrible, horrible idea. It's, this is something that council's gonna have to address at some point, but trees that are in right of ways and adjacent, very near buildings, when they're 3 inches, that's great. When they're 30 inches, it's not great anymore. And I've seen, over and over in the city where trees have to be literally cut into slices because when they were three inches, they didn't come anywhere near that power line. Now they do.
Right. Yeah. You gotta split 'em.
Yeah, and now you gotta split them and then you kill them. And then, so what was the point of all that? And I've seen it over and I understand that's the current ordinance. However, I think it's very narrow minded because as your infrastructure matures, you actually cost the property owner significant money as you move forward. Having to remove one of those, I can tell you one of those large trees is gonna cost you about $1,000, maybe more. That's after TxDOT chops the hell out of it and now it dies.
Well, and I agree with you 100%. And again, I wish if this was going up to council.
Yes, I agree.
If this was going up to council, I wish there was something that they could pay in lieu of that went to city beautification. In other words, you don't just get off just because, yes. you
Either
have
that
to
or
wear-
put in crepe myrtles instead
But-
instead of huge trees.
Or just it goes maybe it goes somewhere else.
Yes.
But in other words, you didn't get out of it completely free just because.
Okay.
On this,
Close the public hearing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, we close.
yeah, we closed.
we closed the
But-
public hearing, yeah.
But anyway,
So-
that's something I would like to see is like when there's a hardship like
Moving forward.
this.
Right. Moving forward.
Moving forward.
Yeah. I don't have any other discussion.
Okay. All right. Not hearing any other discussion, do I hear a motion? To or not to?
I make a motion that we approve ZBA 25-04 as written and as described by the landowner's representative for grasses in the front. As they've already committed to the other building.
Well, you can only approve the variances is
Right.
what you're here for. So
Right,
you can vote to approve the variances is what we can
the
do.
variances
Like
is what
not
the city
additional
does.
like language or anything like that. So just approving the variances.
You've got a point, you want to say something?
Go ahead.
It's just that the
There's still a
city,
discussion.
it's been ignored by these variances. And that's, again, I shouldn't have to discuss, I mean, to explain my vote, but, and it just, I'm not asking y'all to explain your vote either. But I think we're ignoring what the city is asking, and these businesses has to comply. You know? So we're missing, I think we're
Well-
missing something, and I think we're missing something. in
I
here.
think you're bringing up a
But-
good point, about that. I agree.
But
that-
with that, you know, again, I respect everybody's vote, you know, for or against, you know, it is what it is.
I understand the ordinance is what it is. Existing buildings present, I've bought, both
Changes.
bought, owned
Right.
and done changes on existing buildings in
But we
Red
have-
Oak.
But we have to come to.
And it's
we have to-
tough.
We have to come up to par, up to date.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we can't, you know, that's why the city is saying, we need you to do A, B, C, D.
Well, no, the code is saying that the city, I think if they had their option, would have done something slightly different. But the code forces us to be here at this moment.
Mhm.
And that's something council can change code, which I firmly believe they should.
Yes.
And for especially when any of the takings that we're having on the Villa Road and 35, I firmly believe they need to do an overlay for
Right.
all of that. However,
Got a leader.
yeah. Well, no,
Spearhead that.
it just is what it is. I mean, you know, I was on council before. It is what it is. Things happen, things change.
Right.
But and unfortunately, it puts us in this position where a property owner cannot use his property. And we have to make the best of what we can. Unfortunately, should those two buildings have been approved, that guy was a friend of mine. I told him he shouldn't have bought the dang things because I didn't think he could get it approved, but it got approved. So now we have that legacy put upon us in order to make this man, his client whole, so that, because I don't want to see vacant spots anywhere in the city ever, because long-term vacant spots lead to vandalism,
Sure.
lead to all kinds of problems. And we have a solution here, I think is reasonable solution. Does the parking situation, is it less than ideal? Yes. Is that something that he can fix specifically? Not really.
Not really, but it's because this was brought about by an outside entity.
Yes.
That they weren't foreseeing when they bought the building
No.
or wanted to move that, you know, so
Yeah.
it goes beyond their scope of reality until it happens.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah,
text
sure.
dot comes in and says, hey, we're gonna move, you know,
We're
So,
changing, we're changing.
we're changing your whole life. So,
Yeah. So, yeah, no, but I absolutely understand where you're coming from,
I
and
do.
I'm coming from the
Both
other
both
side.
sides are-
too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Both sides.
it's a tough
Right.
thing. I mean, because what I want, a perfect world where they said, yeah, we'll buy the lot next to them, we'll tear it down, we'll put up parking spots, we'll do, yeah, I'd like that. But there has to be a willing buyer on the other end to do that, a willing seller and a willing buyer. So, and we can't force that. So,
Yeah.
we're stuck with what we got here, and making these guys be able to rent that space, I think is fairly important. because that's a main entry coming into the city. And,
Right.
and ignoring that would be to our detriment.
Right. Anything else, gentlemen? Because we've got a motion.
Can you alter the motion?
Yeah, I'll just put it as presented and, and as, I'll change the motion to as presented inside of the ZBA 25-04.
Okay, we've got an amended motion. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, 4-1. Gentlemen, thank you.
I move we closed.
And all in
Do we have
favor?
to, do we need to, do we need to?
Adjourn.
Close this meeting.
There we go. All in favor, stand up and go home.
Aye, second.